all my videos were in lockdown 1. We're now in lockdown 3. I'm going to do a vegetarian dish, but not make a vegetarian. Okay, let's see the ingredients. So really inexpensive, really easy dish now. There's a recipe somewhere, but I don't know where it is. So we've got 3 cloves of garlic. We've got 1 white onion. I've got some smoked cooking bacon over there. I've got 4 courgettes. This is for 4 people, so 1 courgette's enough for 4 people, for 1 person. And I've got some thyme as well. So let's get prepping. Okay, so if you look over here, I've got 3 cloves of garlic. All I'm going to do is, taking the skin off, I'm just going to crack it and chuck it in my little rubber coop over here. Like I said, I don't want to do any effort today. I want to make it simple as possible. Minimum effort. Right, my onion. Just going to top and tail it. Use the peel. Nice and simple, that's it. Minimum effort. You cut it a little bit smaller. Nice and rough. Let the rubber coop do the work. Okay. Go into them. I'm even going to cut the bacon in this. Like I said, minimum effort today. Okay. A little bit of chili going in there now. I don't have fresh chilies. I'm just going to put a bit of dry chili flakes. Get a little bit of heat. That's not going to make it spicy. It's just going to give it just a little bit of heat. And just with Maurice, I'm just going to scrape it down just to make sure there's no massive chunks in there. Now the onion is only background flavour, so I don't want it to be too big. Okay, and then I'll get into the next job. Okay, so there's my onion and garlic. Just get a little bit of thyme. There's some lovely fresh thyme in. I don't want the stalks in this time. Normally I just like pull it out, but I'm just going to gently pull the leaves off in the opposite direction. Now I'm going to use about 6 or 7 of these leaves. They're quite small leaves, so I'm just going to go about 6 or 7. So now to the courgettes. So I'm just going to cut them in half lengthways. If they curled a bit, try and get the curl to the top. Try to cut it as evenly as possible. And all I'm going to do is, with my teaspoon, I'm going to cut the seeds out. So I'm going to make a mold first. I'll get most of that flesh out, but I'm going to use all that flesh as well. Okay, so just make the mold first and then just gently scoop it out. And we'll get most of the flesh out. Now the fresher this courgette is, the more difficult this should be to do, which is a good sign of freshness. It must be nice and firm. Oh, look at that, lovely. Of course, the deeper the hole, the more filling you can get in there. Okay, and you can do that with all the courgettes. Okay, so now if you look at this courgette, it's not very level, so all I'm going to do is, I'm going to turn on its side, just take a very thin layer. Try not to cut too deep because you want it to stand up straight. And that way, it will stand straight when it's baking. Okay, my last bit of mise en place now is just a bit of bacon. That's about 250 grams. I've only used half of it. I'm just going to chop a little bit smaller. Put that into my rubber coop. Or my blender, is the proper name. What I'm going to do is just cut a little bit smaller. Now bear in mind, as bacon cooks, it's going to get smaller as well, so that should do the trick. So just looking at our mise en place, so I've got my chopped bacon, my onions, garlic, chili and thyme. I decided last minute I'm going to put some Parmesan cheese over the top. So as you can see, there's Parmigiano, 30-month matured. Because I was too lazy, I put the courgette through the rubber coupe as well. That's really fine. It's just short of a paste there. Most of it's going to cook away. It's just going to add background flavor. I decided, what the heck, we're going to have some halloumi cheese as a starter. So we'll nibble on that while we're cooking. And over here I've got the courgette boats. So of course this is really easy. If you're looking at the ingredients, the prep is really quick. You can do this by hand obviously as well. Now if you want to make it vegetarian, obviously leave out the bacon. If you want to change the Parmesan cheese for cheddar cheese or goat's cheese, go wild. You can do anything you want. Okay, so let's get cooking. I'm start on the right gas hob. Does help. Nice high heat. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. I don't want to add too much because bacon's got a lot of fat anyway. Just about a half a teaspoon. A little bit more oil. Okay. Now, rules as it always is, you never ever cook from cold. Your oil must be piping hot before you start cooking. If you don't, the meat will boil and it will soak up all the fat and make it tough, chewy and greasy. And we don't want that. When you do heat up your oil, you'll find that the oil does separate. Not separate, it spreads, it thins out. So a little does go a long way. So I'm just going to make sure my oil is nice and hot and it should run like water. Okay. As you can see, the mise en place itself, very, very little to do. This is the easiest thing you'll ever make. You can change the recipe as much as you want. You can add pre-cooked mushrooms to this. You can add sliced cherry tomatoes. You can have olives. Anything you want. Go wild. Change the herb to a basil or a parsley or a coriander. There's no recipe for this. I've literally just knocked things together. Okay, my oil's getting nice and hot. I'm going to start with my bacon. There should be a sizzle. As I cook, I'm just going to break it up a wee bit. Instead of using wooden spoon today, I'm using my trusty Maurice because it's already dirty. Not only being lazy in the cooking and the prepping, I'm also being lazy in the washing up. Okay, so this bacon is now just coming up to cooked. There are still some bits of fat. Even if you don't cook that away or render it down, it's fine. It will cook in the oven and just add flavour. So my onions, garlic and thyme. Now bear in mind, this is going to cook very, very quickly because it's very fine. Remember, there's still a little bit of chili there. Again, the chili is not going to make it spicy. It's literally just going to add some background bite to it. Nothing to run home about. You can smell this. It smells delish. Okay, so this onion garlic is pretty much there. I'm now going to add all my courgettes. Don't worry about the extra water, it's fine. This is going to assist to bulk it up. If you were going to add mushrooms, you would add it with the onions and garlic, maybe with a nice knob of butter. If you're adding cherry tomatoes, you can add it at this stage. You want it to wilt down but not cook away too much if you want it chunky. Otherwise, just add chopped tomatoes instead, and that will then take it to a nice bound stage. Right, let's get some seasoning in there. Now remember, the bacon is quite salty, so so I'm not going to add too much. But first thing to do is always taste before you season. And pepper. And we've got some salt. Himalayan pink salt is what I'm using today. Be nice and generous. Now I'm going to cook this down until there's no liquid yet. It needs to be a nice thick pulp. Another taste. That's not bad at all. The heat of the chili is just coming through. Bear in mind you're adding it to a half a courgette there, so it's really not going to be that spicy once you have the overall bite. And then the parmesan is also going to help balance it out a bit as well. Because that's almost pulping. Get a little bit of parmesan cheese to it. Just cook that in as well. Just add a little bit of background flavour. Stop eating my parmesan cheese. Again, if there is a little bit of liquid there, that's fine. It's going to cook it to the courgette anyway and make it cook a little bit easier. So there we go. As you can see, most of the liquid's gone. I'm just about finished. Okay, so this is still not piping hot, as you can see. I want to spoon it while it's still hot, so it just starts cooking that courgette a little bit. So I'll just show you on this one. I'm just going to gently spoon it in. Now bear in mind you want to share it out fairly evenly, so go a little bit at a time and then you can even it out. So try to keep it in the product as well to keep it nice and neat. So here's my courgette nicely filled. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of cheese. Make sure you don't go too messy on the top. You want it to kind of stay within the courgette. If you do mess a little bit of the side, it's not the end of the world, but you want to still try to keep it as neat as possible. Mainly for presentation purposes. So that's ready for the oven. Probably going for about 10, maybe 15 minutes maximum. So I've got a nice hot pan. I've got some oil in there. As you can see, the oil is running really hot. So nice big chunks of halloumi. Careful, it does spit. When you cook this, some water might expel. That's perfectly fine. It cooks it's golden brown and then flip her over, and that's going to be nice, a little bit chewy, nice and salty, but a nice beautiful crispy texture as well. As it's cooking, spread your oil around, share the love. One thing you can do if you want to finish this, as the halloumi is finished, you can quickly cook with some onions and garlic, some chili, add some balsamic and honey, reduce that down and serve it as a sauce over the halloumi if you wanted to. Create a bit of a sauce for that. Maybe serve it with rocket, some seasoned rocket, maybe some crushed nuts or some toasted olives in there or pine nuts. That would be really nice. Then a quick look, not quite there yet. I'm going to touch more oil to this. Very little, just two little sprinkles around. Just keep it moving around to help it prevent it from sticking. If your pan's not hot enough, this will stick. If you go too thin, it might stick. So just preliminarily moving it around, make sure it's not sticking. And that's going to take a good probably 3 to 4 minutes before I have to turn it. So as you can see, it's going beautifully golden brown. We're going to cook it both sides, make sure it's all nice and crisp around. Now, halloumi is synonymous with giving you a bit of a funny taste or feeling on your teeth when you eat it. That's part of the reason I like it, if I have to be honest. But each to their own, really. So just making sure it's all nice and golden brown all around. I have turned around occasionally. Look at that, beautiful. So if you need 1 more minute, I'm going to put it in a deepish bowl and I'm going to quickly knock up a bit of a sauce. So while this is cooling down, I'm just going to turn the stove top just down a little bit to between medium and low. I'm just going to space this around so it all gets sauce. Got that one on the floor for the dogs. Okay, so halloumi's out. One on the floor for the dogs. He didn't eat it, he didn't like it. I'm now going to add just a little bit of garlic. What's that? Get out. I've got this very lazy chili. So I'm just going to add a little bit, don't add too much. Just a little background bite. They cook very, very quickly. Okay, balsamic vinegar. This is now going to deglaze the pan. That's about 2 tablespoons worth. You get all that halloumi in the base. Pick it all up. This does smell amazing. Okay, let's get some honey in there. And to finish off, a little bit of butter. This is going to create a bit of a sauce now. Same as your level 3 Montel Beurre, same idea. The butter is going to enrich the sauce but also make it a little bit more palatable. So that just to break that vinegar a little bit. The honey is going to break the acidic flavour, and altogether that's going to create a good balance in flavours. Just while I'm finishing, just a little bit of time because I've still got some left over. Don't waste any of that flavour at the bottom. A smaller pan would be much easier to make the sauce as well. Do not leave this, it will separate and split. Just bring it up to the boil. Keep it moving. And I'm not going to add any salt to this, believe it or not, because the butter is salted. And that's ready. Enjoy. So I often tell your students to use your chef's nose. So when you start smelling the food, that's a good time to start. Now looking at the time, we're now on about 30 minutes, not 10 minutes. I just had my time totally wrong. So looking over here, that is going to be absolutely divine. That with a little bit of rocket salad, we're laughing all the way. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a go. Alternate it, change as much as you want, and enjoy it.